Peace and greetings. Presenting the Network of Awareness podcast radio station, providing in-depth information on society and culture in America and abroad, bringing you truth messages of inspiration, keen insight, reputable interviews, and so much more. So now, for the truth you've been waiting for, your host of the Network of Awareness podcast, Aura, the informationalist.
Yes, peace and greetings, people, and welcome to the Network of Awareness podcast radio show. I am your host, owner, and founder of the Network of Awareness, or the Informationalist. And I want to welcome you to this wonderful show today that we have on this Sunday afternoon, on this beautiful day of October 23rd. And like I mentioned, because I didn't put out an episode on Thursday or Friday, this is the catch-up episode for the week. And then, of course, we'll go back to our daily schedule of Monday through Friday starting next week in case something comes up. You will definitely get 5 shows a week. So this being the 5th show, it is the first installment of a new series that I call the Science Appliance series, where we're going to discuss many of these things in regards to the Science Appliance and all of the initiatives that they're trying to push forward and trying to make into law and trying to finalize. But as you well know, brothers and sisters, there are many governors like mine, Ron DeSantis, and I believe the governor from Arkansas and a few others, that are not going along with this propaganda pimping. But the persistent pursuit to basically get people science appliance is well on its way. Now, this is season 4, episode 85, called Ignorant Inoculations, as you can see in that artwork that I created. And people are still ignorant. No matter how much awareness has been brought out there, they still lack the knowledge. They still lack the awareness. They still lack the faith. And they're putting their faith in man. And people are being very challenged with this decision that they're making in trusting men and women when it comes to their health, amongst other things in these days of revelations that we're in. So we're going to discuss that, besides the fact that we're also going to discuss this whole block on student loans now from the Democratic Biden administration. So let's get into it, folks. Welcome to the Network of Awareness, baby. Let's go.
The informationalist.
You are now tuned in to the Network of Awareness.
So welcome, brothers and sisters, and peace and greetings to you. So let's get right into it, folks. What I want to do, because they're pushing, you see, the CDC is pushing, and they voted unanimously, and we're going to talk about that, about having a schedule and now a program that's already been approved and federally funded to basically science appliance many children as low as ages of 6 months. So let's talk about that. Now, the first thing I'm going to do before I play the broadcast, because propaganda stays pimping, right, is that I want to play, or should I say read, an article from a writer from Healthline by the name of George Cintrana. And so thank you, George, for this article. It says, key CDC panel recommends that GACA-19 science appliance be added to the regular childhood immunization plan. What's interesting is that they want to add this to the plan, yet this thing is still on the EUA. So it's like, how can something be pushed to be recommended when it's not even off of emergency use authorization? Furthermore, or it hasn't even gone through the proper trial period, which is at least 10 years, for it to even get the qualification to be administered to people around the country. But yet here we are, people. These are the days and times that we are living in here. This is the United Shenanigans in its purest form right here. And people, you need to keep your children protected and safe. So in the Healthline article, it says an advisory panel has unanimously voted to add GACA-19 Science Appliance to the list of routine immunizations for kids as young as 6 months. It says the CDC will decide later whether or not to take the panel's recommendation. The immunization schedule is meant to help physicians in determining when to administer important science appliances for both children and adults. On October 20th, the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, ACIP, voted unanimously to include GACA-19 Science Appliance on the list of routine immunizations for adults and children 6 months and older. People, it's time to wake up. If you haven't already, it's time. The time is always now. Now, remember, whenever I say the ACIP, that's just an abbreviation for Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices. These people voted unanimously pretty quickly, and they're really trying to ramp things up. So it says that it's important to note that there is no changes in GACA-19 Science Appliance policy across the nation, right? And today's action simply helps streamline, keyword, clinical guidance for healthcare providers by including all currently licensed, authorized, and routinely recommended science appliances on document. The ACIP, which is the advisory committee to the U.S. Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, said in the statement. It also says that ACIP is an advisory committee for the U.S. Center of Disease Control and Prevention. Despite the ACIP recommendation, the CDC still has the authority to decide whether or not to add GACA-19 Science Appliance to the agency list of recommended science appliances. It also says, what does the ACIP decision mean then? Well, it means that the CDC advisory committee schedule is meant to help physicians in determining when to administer important science appliances for both children and adults. The decision by the CDC to add GACA-19 Science Appliance to the schedule is not a mandate, but a recommendation for yearly science appliance. Dr. Theodore Strange, he is the chair of medicine, Staten Island University Hospital, part of the Northwell Health in New York, explained, it does not impact what science appliances are required for school entrance, which is controlled at the state, county, and municipal levels, which is true, people. That's why a lot of our governors are shutting this down. And I'm so happy that Don DeSantis has been staying strong to this ever since it came to be here in the Sunshine State of Florida. Now, Strange also emphasized that the immunization schedule is designed to provide the best protection for both children and adults. The immunization schedule in the gold standard is meant to help providers which science appliances should be recommended and when he said, sorry. So what else does it do? Here's where, this is what I've been talking about for quite some time, people. Not only is our federal government that doesn't have a history of ever doing anything for free when it comes to our health, but now not only have they're covering costs so that you can be protected, but they also want to give you incentives, right? Like they did 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, and still continue to do to some degree. We're just not hearing it about it a lot, but there's still plenty of incentives for you to take this. So it says that extended over 90 days since declared by the Trump administration, the U.S. public health emergency might end sometime in 2023. And what that means is meaning that the private market could take over the distribution of GACA science appliances and treatments. Oh, wow, the private sector. Cha-ching. Now, it also says that, however, the recommendations that are included by the ACIP GACA-19 science appliance in the immunization schedule may help ensure continued access for the uninsured. Oh, wonderful. By adding this science appliance to the immunization schedule for children, will likely have access to the science appliance for free through the Science Appliance for Children program, all right, better known as the VCP. Now, the federally funded program provides immunizations to children's of families who may not be able to afford science appliances and do not have health insurance. How wonderful. I mean, you guys are really going out of your way to help people. That's a beautiful thing, right? Now, this is an important step, Christopher Calandrella said. He is the DO chair of the Emergency Medicine Long Island Jewish Forest Hills in New York. And he said that as Science Appliances have played a critical role in preventing deaths and hospitalization caused by the virus. Okay. Now it says that a need to ramp up education efforts. This is very wildly virus, and we've got to be vigilant. Peter Pitts, former FDA Associate Commissioner and President of the Center for Medicine in Public Interest, told Healthline. He said, we got to be smarter than the virus. And that means that we got to be science applianated on a regular basis. It is the cornerstone of our strategy, he added. Pitts pointed out that there's a problem with people getting science applianated right now against the current variant. And that's not a good thing. Oh, no, it's not, Peter. But guess what? It is. Because when it's bad, Peter, it's still all good over here. Now, he also emphasized the needs to push awareness of how important it is to be science applianated against the pandemic virus. And that's what I'm doing, brother. I'm bringing a lot of awareness to this. He says, I think the CDC needs to go beyond putting it on the schedule. And they really need to start ramping up the education effort about why it's important not just to know, just not right now for a younger age cohort, but for everybody on an annual basis, Pitt said. This guy is insane. He also says that the article says that few Americans are getting the Gaga-19 rooster, okay? So people are not getting the rooster jabination. Now, according to most current CDC data, less than half of Americans have gotten their first rooster shot. Now, a Kaiser Family Foundation poll finds that only 19% of parents' children aged 6 months through 4 years old reported that their child has been science applianated with Gaga-19. Now, Pitts blames White House messaging about the pandemic. You know, on Monday, the president says the pandemic is over. Then on Tuesday, he authorizes a Gaga-19 emergency. There are no consistent messaging coming out of the White House, he said. Well, when has there ever been? Okay. Now, Pitts said he's not surprised that people have decided to do nothing. And I say salute to you, brothers and sisters, that have decided to do nothing, because that's probably the best decision that you'll ever make in your life. Now, short of strong, consistent leadership, people are going to defeat the most common denominator, which is nothing, he said. Oh, well. Now, the bottom line is that the CDC advisory panel recently approved the inclusion of the Gaga-19 science appliance in the immunization schedule for children as young as 6 months. Experts say that this doesn't mean the science appliance will be mandated for anyone in the U.S., but it will make it easier for people to have the science appliance covered by the insurance or to access the science appliance for free through certain programs. Isn't that wonderful, people, that our federal government is going above and beyond to get us all science applianated and to give us our rooster shots? Oh, what a wonderful thing. Now, you've heard me talk about the propagandist pimping, right? So we're going to play a quick clip to just prove that point. But before we do, there's something that I want to read real quick in regards to the VCP, or should I say the VFC, which the VFC is the Science Appliances for Children program. It says the Science Appliance for Children program is a federally funded program that provides science appliances at no cost to children who might not otherwise be science applianated because of inability to pay. The CDC buys the science appliance at a discounted rate for distribution to registered VFC providers. Children who are eligible for VFC science appliances are entitled to receive these science appliances recommended by the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices. Isn't that great? So now it's basically like Medicaid for the science appliance. So anybody that feels like they don't have enough and they really want to get it, they get offered it for free, forget it. They're going to jump all over that. And people, I'm going to tell you something. You've already seen the clips where people are we can't even say dropping like flies, but just the simple fact that there are things happening that'll blow your mind, that makes you feel like you're in the twilight zone when it comes to the life expectancy of people these days, especially those that are young and are very healthy, especially when it comes to our athletes. So now, because propaganda is pimping so heavy these days, let's take a closer look on how the smoke and mirrors media does what they do. Here we go.
We have a dire new warning from doctors tonight about a rapidly spreading respiratory virus impacting children around the country. On top of that, the flu is also ripping through schools. Here's Kathy Park with the important information parents need to know.
Tonight, children with RSV overwhelming hospitals nationwide, pushing emergency centers to the brink. From Rhode Island,
even in the last few weeks, we've seen a doubling of cases.
To New York.
Our emergency department numbers are up about 20 to 25%.
The highly contagious but rarely fatal respiratory virus is filling up hospital beds across the country. It can initially present like a common cold, but can become more severe in older adults and infants. Parents of 4-month-old Georgia first realized something was wrong when they saw her breathing abnormally.
Now, let's stop it right there for a second. It could come on as the common cold. Well, is there a great possibility, or should I say allegedly, that it is just a common cold? But you see, people, this is what the smoke and mirrors media does, is that they amplify the lie, okay? So it doesn't surprise me that you're going to see a lot of this on our local media networks in order for this unanimous decision that was just made a couple of days ago for this childhood program to go and to be put in full effect throughout the United Shenanigans of America. And obviously there's a lot of opposition, but think about the people that do not provide opposition and where that's going to leave them. But I say this, that if you haven't wakened up to all of the information that is readily available, if you haven't woken up to a lot of the people that have been dropping right in front of your face for no damn reason ever, that never had health issues before, you need to start questioning things, and you need to wake up and smell the coffee and the roses at the same time. Let's continue.
Her rib cage very clearly, when she was doing every single breath, it was going in and out, in and out.
Georgia spent 4 days in the hospital, diagnosed with RSV.
We were definitely terrified, especially when we saw that she needed to go on oxygen and had the tubes in her nose.
Tonight, she's back home and recovering. This surge comes just as other respiratory illnesses in children take off. In one Virginia high school, nearly half the students were absent this week because of flu-like symptoms.
Now, isn't it interesting, people, that we're having this surge around this time? And is the surge really real? Because according to the nightly news, it is. Now, I believe that if this surge has any validity to it, which it might, it's because a lot of the children that have already taken Science Appliance have become those walking, talking pathogens that are putting everybody else at risk with the Science Appliance going through their bloodstream. Okay, keep that in mind. That's why I'm a major advocate these days on my show that I believe that all Americans should be homeschooling their children no matter what age they are, no matter what. Because to have your children in any particular school district or even private school, in my personal opinion, I don't think it's safe right now. We in a climate right now where things are popping off every single day in this country. And most of the time when something pops off, it's really not good. And it's detrimental to the well-being of our children, our adolescents, and of course, all the adults out here. But especially the children that don't know no better, that they're going the guidance off of those that are supposed to be their guardians. Okay? Let's continue.
In San Diego, more than 1,000 students miss class. Experts point to pandemic precautions as a reason for the spike.
You have an entire group of kids over the last 3 years that haven't been exposed to those respiratory viruses, RSV included, and that led to essentially, 3 times the amount of kids who are susceptible.
RSV typically thrives in the winter months, but this year it began circulating earlier than normal.
Do you anticipate things will get worse?
And why do you think it's circulating earlier than normal, right around the time that the CDC is discussing this childhood Science Appliance program? I'm just saying, people.
There's a lot of concern that this is just the beginning of the respiratory viral season. And so many of us are very concerned about that.
And Kathy joins us live from Hassenfeld Children's Hospital in New York. Kathy, every parent wants to know, what can we do to keep our children safe?
Okay. I forgot about the commercials, people. But we'll skip that in just a moment here. Let's go.
Well, Jose, there is no vaccine to prevent an RSV infection, so parents are encouraged to promote good hygiene, like washing hands frequently and covering coughs. And if your child is sick, remember to keep them at home. Jose?
Kathy Park in New York, thank you. Early voting began today in Nevada.
Okay, so people, if you're still voting, there's got to be a screw loose there. But hey, that's a topic for another day. As you can see, people, the reason why I wanted to do this show is because you have to wake up out of your ignorance, because ignorance is bliss these days. And the persistent pursuit for these science appliances to be pushed on our children is a big red flag. It was a red flag for it to be pushed on adults. It's a red flag now for it to be pushed on our children. And just look at the data. Look at the fact that, let's forget about all of the negative things that have come with this. Just the fact that the proper protocol in regards to preliminary trial testing and testing overall to see if something is safe in regards to a science appliance that's going to be administered nationally within this country has not gone through that proper protocol. It hasn't even been met in the slightest bit. So how in the holy hell can we say that this is fine, this is okay? And allowing these institutions that really don't have any say at all, they can make recommendations. But at the end of the day, the federal government is the one that has the final say. But yet you got these institutions that are really trying to strong arm the situation. While this science appliance has so many complaints, okay? We're just going to call them complaints. But there's been so many complaints throughout the country and around the world. And as many of you have seen on YouTube, on Instagram, Twitter, and many other social media streaming platforms, we are seeing countless of wicked, malevolent, evil, demonic things happening to people that were in perfect or good health prior to taking the science appliance. Okay? So I want you to really be aware of that. And if you are in a predicament where they asked for your child to take the science appliance, I would say not only say no, but you need to take them out, because there are going to be parents that are going to say yes. And the question that I pose to you people that are listening to this broadcast is, do you want your children around children that have taken the science appliance? I mean, come on now. Let's use some common sense here. I know common sense ain't so common anymore, but we really have to wake up to the reality that in these days of revelations, there are things out here that are seeking to destroy and annihilate us for good. Now, there's one more thing that I want to cover in regards to one of these stories that I came across. And it's in regards to that education package that now all of a sudden has taken the back seat. And this is how our country operates, people. This is how our country operates. So I just want to make note of it. It's called the student debt forgiveness. It's now been blocked. So all you students that thought you was going to have your money paid for when it comes to your college debt, well, guess what? You're still going to have to wait. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think it's ever going to happen. I think that was a pipe dream sold for the campaign so that election can take its course. Because as always, they always tell you things that sound good. But as far as them coming through on what they say, has our government really, do they have a track record of that? So let's take a listen to how the student debt program has now been blocked.
Diaz-Balart.
Good evening. It is simultaneously one of President Biden's most popular moves and one of his most controversial, the elimination of up to $20,000 in student loan debt. Those with debt view it as an opportunity to break free of a major financial burden. Others view it as an unfair handout directed at the president's base of college-educated supporters at the expense of taxpayers. Now, Its fate and the fate of the 40 million Americans eligible for relief is in limbo. Overnight, a federal court halted the program, at least temporarily. A group of Republican-led states had asked for the injunction, arguing the president does not have the authority to wipe away the debt. So, what happens next? Josh Letterman leads us off tonight.
Now, on a quick note, people, the reason why they don't have the authority is because that money is owed to the central banking systems of this world. And that's one thing that they want, is they want to collect their money. Okay, so all that interest that's built up, that goes to the central banking systems. That goes to all of the oligarchs and the bankers that run this world through money and currency, okay? Just keep that in mind. That's why they don't have the authorization. But of course, they're not going to tell you that.
Tonight, 22 million Americans who already applied for student debt relief are in limbo after an appeals court temporarily froze President Biden's signature program. A setback for borrowers like Morgan Downing, a Harvard grad student who was expecting to see some of her $46,000 student debt disappear. Now,
it was just really disappointing, really upsetting. I don't know what my next move would be other than knowing that I'm facing even more debt.
The court saying no debt can be canceled for now, while it considers a challenge from Republican-led states who want to kill the program for good. The order coming just hours after Mr. Biden visited a public college to promote the plan.
Today, we're following through on a promise I gave to millions of Americans with student loans, just a little more breathing room.
The election year plan would cancel up to $10,000 a person, or $20,000 for Pell Grant recipients. Only individuals earning less than $125,000 a year are eligible.
It seems profoundly unfair after the fact to forgive some group of people, and then the tax bill will end up going right on the shoulders of those people who've already either not taken out any debt or paid off their debt.
Tonight, the White House insists it's full speed ahead, urging borrowers to keep applying at studentaid.gov while the court battles continue.
With all of this in limbo, are you still encouraging your friends to go ahead and submit that application for debt relief?
I'm still telling people that they need to put this application in. My hope is that they see these numbers continue to rise.
Josh Letterman is with the president in Delaware.
Well, that's the whole thing, people. They're going to see those numbers continue to rise because they already know where those numbers are at. And they're just going to let them keep rising. Because there's one thing when it comes to the United Shenanigans of America, they don't play fair. And everything is an illusion. Everything is not what it appears to be. There's always more than meets the eye.
Hello, Josh, what's the timeline for a final ruling on the program?
Well, it could take weeks for multiple legal challenges to wind through the courts. And meantime, student loan repayments are about to kick back in for millions when that COVID pause finally expires at the end of the year. Jose?
Bam.
Josh Letterman.
I mean, can it get any worse? So it's like, not only do they're duping people by blocking them, but now they're going to say, hey, you got to pay all that money because this so-called, student loan suspension temporarily has now been lifted. And this is a perfect example, people, of why I say that there's nothing great about this place. This place has always been about manipulation and deception. That's how this place came into inception. This is what the United Shenanigans of America is all about. So, brothers and sisters, I hope that you enjoyed this broadcast. This is not going to be a long show, but what I will say is this, brothers and sisters, is that we got to just be, we got to stay more focused on being healthy these days. We have to start turning more to holistic treatment, start really understanding how herbs can help us heal and how can herbs help us to keep our immune system strong. We got to start getting into mushrooms, into a plant-based diet, start getting away from meat, and really start keeping our health at an optimal level. We really have to start focusing on having alkaline in our diets as well, not just with the water, but with the foods that we eat. And really just have a healthy body as well as a healthy mind. So don't let man dictate to you what you should be doing with your body. Only the Most High has a say in that because the Most High has given us these bodies to dwell in. And that's why we have to keep these temples clean so that we can properly serve the Most High the best way we know how and the best way we can, for which we were intended to in the first place. So be aware and be prepared, because this pursuit to have our children get the Science Appliance, it's not going nowhere. But we can say no and we can move forward, or we can say yes and move forward. But I'd rather say no. I don't know about y'all, but I'd rather say no, and I have to present day. And all praise to the Most High for that. So brothers and sisters, I'm going to play some music to end out the show. And what I will say is this, brothers and sisters, is that when you live in the present, right, there's always an opportunity for a new beginning. And don't look for the light at the end of the tunnel, because the light is and always will be within you. So light up the tunnel and find your way through the darkness. Listen to some music, brothers and sisters. We're going to have some tracks played by Julian Demon Slayer, some tracks from DeFree, Yazan, and myself. So brothers and sisters, peace, love, and light, and barakatah. All praise to the Heavenly Father, our great creator of that which is and always will be, Yahweh Elohim. All right? And all praises to his son, the Messiah. All right, brothers and sisters, let's go.
Brother, I don't have a lot of time, Take. They got the dogs on me. You know, they really trying to get me to take this Science Appliance, brother. And you know I'm not doing that, man.
Oh, where you at?
Not doing it. I'm in an undisclosed location right now, up in the nature spot near that cabin I used to go to. But they got the dogs tracking me. They got the satellites. So they eventually gonna get here. I got it barricaded, you know what I'm saying? Because the only way I'm taking that jab is if I'm in a bag, brother. So Take, I just want to tell you this before anything else happens, and I want to get this out to you and let you know. All right, brother, Take, you're at the door. I gotta tell you, just listen, brother. Just listen.
Now it's time to get out your own way. Allow Yahweh, today is your day to amaze in many ways, cause it's just another phase in this infinite space where y'all be giving us grace. I'm working the race with diligent praise, unwavering faith. I'll be damned if I stray from y'all's will and embrace. Man sealed his fate with his ignorant ways. The world is disgraced, vibration has raised at a very fast pace. I'm present today in high frequency waves. No more being enslaved, all praise to Yahweh. A Hebrew warrior from the land of the brave. From the cradle to the grave to my very last day. Send a serpent to his cave, God favored my way. Never fearful or timid, it was written and given. No religion, division can stop a messenger that's fulfilling his mission.
They only get worse before they get better, but the storm ain't meant to last forever. Even when the light is dim, the sun finds a way to shine again. Things are getting ugly, things are getting cold, but I know it's best to stay in my zone. And I can't stop now, I can't stop now.
Hey, I can't stop and won't stop, I gotta keep propelling. Final destination is a room in the heavens. Diligence and militant, his will is my medicine. I can live without a half, but his love is my everything. COVID is on the road, got the world on its toes. So many sheep with their eyes closed.
Hey sir, would you like to take the jab?
Man, kiss my ass, stop living by what the news told you. You got injustice, brutality saturating the streets. Blood spilling for no reason, thanks to the police. Meanwhile, syringes are being taken with speed. Can't do it, you ain't sticking no vaccination to me. Despite all the chaos, I still manage to stay on the right path. Gotta keep my focus and my faith strong.
All day long,
let spiritual music play on. All the honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh.
Things only get worse before they get better, but the storm ain't meant to last forever. Even when the light is dim, the sun finds a way to shine again. Things are getting ugly, things are getting cold, but I know it's best to stay in my zone. And I can't stop now, I can't stop now.
Can't stop, I won't stop. 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 Can't stop, I won't stop.
In the mix. 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 In the mix.
Yeah, we ready for war. Moving on one accord. Brethren at my side. We just gotta endure. Taking my thoughts and bringing to Christ. Throwing down imaginations. I'm just trying to stay patient. Stand fast, can't wait. Yeah, we ready for war. Moving on one accord. Brethren at my side. We just gotta endure. Dodging demons like the Matrix. I'm just trying to go home. Swore made it that truth. So I just gotta move on. Ready for war, ready for death if it go like that. So if I die, I pray that I die for the most I got. I can't turn around, I can't look back, so it's all out war. I'm seeing the path so narrow, careful to not fall. Get up for it's too late. Sun come with a blaze with a judgment. In that day won't see where the sun went all black like sackcloth and the moon blood. This is a warning to go and repent. This is a warning to seek out the Lamb. This is the point where you go and examine. Gotta stay patient, I'm looking inside. Trust the Most High with all of my life. I love all my brothers, we suffer with Christ. When it feel like death, just know that it's life. Don't give up, Christ paid that price. Don't give up, Christ paid that price. Yeah, we ready for war. Moving on one accord. Brethren at my side. We just gotta endure. Taking my thoughts and bringing to Christ. Throwing down imaginations. I'm just trying to stay patient. Stand fast, can't wait. Yeah, we ready for war. Moving on one accord. Brethren at my side. We just gotta endure. Dodging demons like the Matrix. I'm just trying to go home. Swore made it that truth. So I just gotta move on.
Sipping on lean, can't even go a day without Mary. Stuck in a web of rejection. Billboard stars twisting your conscience up like a wind-up toy. Got your daily problems all bottled, but you try to cap it with a pill. Reveling views for the thrill, an escape to remove from the real. Is it really cause you in peril, or it's a mimic Hollywood? Please tell me. Sip after sip, snip after snip. You're killing yourself, can't see it's draining your soul and taking a toll. Don't take it from me, tell him JB.
My spirit was dead, clouded with haze. I was chasing the high, labyrinth mind, numbing the pain. Stuck in the cycle, I wish I had closed. I look at my wounds, open as torture, but it's too soon. Another excuse, I was addicted. Capital E, evicted out my own body, had no control, passenger seat. I was out for a ride and I noticed that the ride won't end. Had to jump out that car, took a leap of faith. To attach, had me crash, got up leaning, and I got out scarred. Most High saved my life, he cut them demons down. He healed me all around. So I'ma tell you right now, this world ain't worth it, no. Those drugs ain't worth it, no. Don't lose your purpose, whoa. Yes, I'm talking to you, children. Listen to your parents now while you have them. Especially hold fast to their words when they talking about Messiah. Consider this a warning now.
are now tuned in to the Network of Awareness.
I hardly ever say much, but they do whatever I say. Yeah. Every time I pull up in the driveway, she be like, oh my Yahweh. I hardly ever say much, but they do whatever I say. Yeah. Every time I pull up in the driveway, she be like, oh my Yahweh. Hopscotch on your planet. Why you all up in my space? I hardly ever say much, but they do whatever I say. Yeah. Every time I pull up in the driveway, she be like, oh my Yahweh. Hopscotch on your planet. Why you all up in my space? All these battles that I face, which I go proceed at a high rate. I watch them migrate and hide, cause when I rap I really hydrate. Catch a wave while you thugging out. And God is a woman, she love me, wow. Make you spark your inner Noah's Ark. I got a flow that will flood your house. Every day is celebration. She roll it up, no hesitation. Sativa, I got from Shiva. Guarantee infinite elevation. There is love in the air. Release the ether, watch it linger. Middle fingers in the air. If you got a middle finger, I had to let go of the past, cause I crave a better future. Now my homegirl got an ass, and she meditate like she Buddha. She got the sauce like picante. We got the sauce like BBQ. We got the sauce like tomatoes. Escape from hell like I'm Kratos. I hardly ever say much, but they do whatever I say. Every time I pull up in the driveway, she be like, oh my Yahweh. Hopscotch on your planet. Why you all up in my space? All these battles that I face, she Fetty Wap, she come my way. She swerved for me on the highway. I'm higher than life and God's ways. I'm trying to live, you a zombie. I pay my bills like I'm Cosby. I grind, kick, flipping ollie. They witness how I be so gnarly. Back to the future like Marty. You're a slacker, McFly. My flow will approach your MK Ultra. I'm hacking your mind. Just let me be, or be left behind. Better climb your ladder. My flow antimatter. Vibrate through your spine.
In the mix. In the mix. In the mix.
Spread that peace and love right now. Why, oh? I ain't playing about it, I need my money right now. I don't care about that shit, but the hundreds give me power to change the world. I'm coming for the man's throat. We killing Mother Earth, yo, it ain't a fucking joke. Turn your TV off, read the book, stupid. Get your mind right, if we unite, we could do this. I was born to ride for the cause, wildin' out in my drawers, bad it, fuck the laws, they corrupt. I do my own dance, to my own drum, sing my own song. I ain't heard nothing real in so long. God soldier, yo, your time's over, mobbing with my posse overthrow ya. Power to the people, love conquers all, kill what's evil. It's like 1, 2, 3, I go by the name Death Free. Peace and love, that's how I ride. And you know that we won't stop. Why, oh? 1, 2, 3, I'm for hope and equality. I can't believe that they done shot Nipsey. Too much violence, it must stop. Why, oh? No one's innocent, we all play a part. If we turn our heads, then we ain't pure of heart. Takes courage, baby, who's coming with me? Who's down to step up? Who's getting busy on the punk beats? Pick your fucking trash up. Ocean's dying, threw your damn cup out the window. Microplastics for the kiddos. More fire, more carbon. More liars in the government. Folks starving, folks tired. Who's riding? It's like 1, 2, 3. I go by the name Death Free. peace and love, that's how I rock. And you know that we won't stop. Why, y'all? 1, 2, 3. I'm for hope and equality. I can't believe that they done shot Nipsey. Too much violence, it must stop. Why, y'all? We gon' spread that peace and love. We gon' spread that peace and love. We gon' spread that peace and love right now. Why, y'all? We gon' spread that peace and love. We gon' spread that peace and love. We gon' spread that peace and love right now. Why, y'all? Hey, yo, spread it. All that hatred got to dead it. If we don't come together, then we gon' regret it. Headed towards freedom with no break, no exit. The man's time is over. You can say I said it. Spread it. All that bullshit got to stop it. Fighting against each other, yo, that's what he always wanted. Robbing for the guys, for my guys. Get it on till I die. I'm a freedom ride. Change is gonna come. We gon' spread that peace and love. We gon' spread that peace and love. We gon' spread that peace and love right now. Why, y'all? We gon' spread that peace and love. We gon' spread that peace and love.
This concludes the Network of Awareness podcast. For more information on the Network of Awareness, please subscribe via email to our website, networkofawareness.com, and follow us on Spreaker.com or any other listening apps you use. For any questions about the NOA, email us at aura@networkofawareness.com. Thank you for listening to one of the fastest growing podcast shows on society and culture in America and abroad. When you live in the present, there's always an opportunity for a new beginning. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings.